Okay, so if you want to become a Catholic priest, that's a big deal. And I mean, that's like 7 years of school.
What?
And, yeah. And so if you want to become a Catholic priest, you have to, I mean, it's a big deal. Like,
how much is that?
I don't know how the Catholic Church does that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because so for example, if you're going to, if you're a Methodist going to a
if
Methodist,
I'm giving up sex for the rest of my life, I don't owe you nothing.
Well, it's one way to look at it.
You got to pay me
right
to go to your school. Well, welcome back to the 100 Podcast. My name is Nate Robinson. I'm here with Pastor Dr. Joseph Tillman, Demon Jr. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm well, man.
Cool.
Staying warm in this cold, crazy weather down here in Georgia. Because, it's
frigid.
It gets wild down here with how cold it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
I like how you say down here as if you're referencing people who are in colder areas. When you say that.
Well, I mean,
down here it's so cold.
Down here it's so cold.
Yeah. You should be like, up here it's freezing.
Well, just trying to help people know, like, down here in the South in Georgia,
okay,
it's cold. At least for us.
All right.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about Bible college.
We are.
Because that's the only way I know how to describe it.
Oh. Okay.
Or the other word was seminary.
Seminary.
Is that the correct term?
We will actually we'll make a differentiation between the two.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, read the ad again.
All right. Before we get started today with our questions, we want to shout out our sponsor, the Discipleship Group. The Discipleship Group is a systematic training for Christians who want to go deeper and grow stronger in their relationship with God. In these courses, Dr. Jay Zen brings you over 4 decades of study, pastoring, and teaching to equip the saints to make disciples. The Discipleship Group is a series of 6 books, each book consisting of 26 weeks. Therefore, it's 3 years of study. Each week has articles written by the author to read, a chapter from a supplemental book like The Passion for God or More Than a Carpenter, The Master Plan of Evangelism, and there's scripture readings each week from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Psalms. I've used the Discipleship Group resources for over a decade. I've used them in groups of 2 to 3 people. I've used them in small groups up to 12 people. And I can tell you, as a pastor, as someone who spends a lot of time making disciples and meeting with others, that the Discipleship Group resources are the best that I have found for growing in our faith and for encouraging us to go and make disciples ourselves. Go to discipleshipgroup.com, check out their resources, find out information about Dr. J, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
I'm on book 4 now.
Are you really?
Of those things, yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm over halfway.
That's awesome, dude.
But
Good
I
for
haven't
you.
filled everything out, so I can't get accredited at Bible college for going through the course.
But if you start filling everything out, you can go back and start reading the books.
I don't even know where book 1 is anymore.
Well,
that thing got destroyed in my car.
Just like spontaneously combusted or what?
No, I think it got Powerade on it and a bunch
Cheetos.
of stuff. Yeah,
I got you.
No, by the end of the books, they're a mess.
Literally, just done.
Anyway, Patreon.
Yeah, man. So go to Patreon, and if you could support us, we would really appreciate it. It allows us to keep putting out episodes, and for those that enjoy the content, it's a great way to support us.
And thank you for everyone who does.
Absolutely.
Website.
Go to our website. Find out more about us. You can, go there and again, support us through buying merch and, website.
Social media.
Go there, like, subscribe, comment, notification bell, share, all that good fun stuff.
I don't know how it turned into me just saying the things and you talking about the stuff.
Man, I don't either. You used to do all this.
Know.
I feel like I'm doing way too much talking. I'm reading ads. I'm answering questions on this.
Oh, you're reading ads every
time.
All right, Bible college.
Yes, sir.
Where you talk a lot. Where you went for a lot.
I went for a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. First question.
Mm-hmm.
What is Bible college?
Okay. Yeah. That's such a general question. And so there are multiple levels, I'm going to put it this way, or kinds, not levels, multiple kinds of Bible colleges. Okay. When people say Bible college, what do they mean by that? So it could be that you mean a locally peer accredited college or university where individuals can go to get specific training on Bible. So in other words, it's not like a college where you have to go take core classes like math and science and all that kind of stuff. It would just be, you're literally going there to take just like Bible and theology and ministry type classes. Okay. So you've got that on one side. Then you've got the actual regionally accredited, college or university that is, and obviously most of these are private schools, and private Christian schools where you can go get a degree in accounting, marketing, whatever. But they would consider themselves, we're a Christian school, a Bible school. Most individuals will go to these schools, get minors in biblical studies, while also getting a major in, again, marketing, accounting, English teacher or English education, whatever. And they will also offer, master level classes or doctoral level classes that also
on Bible,
on Bible, to prepare one to go be to get a master's in theology or a master's in divinity. So so you have those, and then there's also kind of what you were talking about earlier, like the seminary. So a seminary is, or a theological school is not the same necessarily as a Bible college. So it's not dealing with your 4-year undergrad, in other words. And so this is, again, it's a regionally accredited seminary where you go and you're getting your master's in theology, master's of divinity, where you're getting a PhD or you're getting a doctorate in ministry. And so that's more on the seminary or a theological school. And when I say theological school or theological college, those are often housed within larger universities. So, for example, I got my Master's of Divinity at Candler School of Theology at Emory University. So it's at a larger university. And so, like in the Methodist tradition, for example.
So they teach medicine, and on the side, they teach voodoo magic.
Pretty much. That's what I got out of it.
Them's the kooks.
Right. Right. We got the really intelligent people here.
Right. And the pray about it people over there.
Right. And what's wild is so in the Methodist tradition, so the Methodist schools, so you've got them at Emory, at Duke, at Vanderbilt.
I went to Harvard. Cool.
Yeah.
Seminary.
You're that guy. Right. And so a lot of them, whether they're Methodist or another denomination, because different denominations have different schools, right? Colleges that they have them. So
it's whichever denomination got to the school first.
Yeah. Or even founded the school. So some of them were actually founded by, so for example, in the Methodist tradition of the Methodist universities and college, a lot of them were founded by Methodist churches or Methodist pastors.
Oh, yeah. So that's Bible school.
Yeah, so that's Bible school. And then again, I got my doctorate at Asbury Theological Seminary, which is separate from Asbury University, which is literally across the street. And so there's there's the Asbury University, where my wife went. That was where she got her her undergrad degree. And then there's the Theological Seminary where you can go and again get a master's in theology, MDiv, DMin, PhD, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what degrees can you get at Bible college?
Yeah, well, I think I just named some of them.
Okay.
So on the seminary level, again, that's mainly in the seminary level. It's masters of theology and masters in divinity. Okay.
What do those mean?
Okay, so a master in theology. So at the school that I went to, it was a 2-year degree as opposed to the master's in divinity, which is a 3-year degree. Master's in theology, you're going to more than likely do original languages, Hebrew, Greek, and then you're going to take biblical studies classes, theological courses like systematic theology, and it could be it could be systematic theology, it could be Christian theology 101, from the time of Jesus to the Reformation, and then Christian theology, 102, which would be from Reformation to modern day. So yeah. And so there's
unless you're Catholic and then they go the other way.
Yeah, they're definitely not hanging. They're not going to talk about the Reformation.
Yeah.
And if they are, it's not in a positive light. But
right.
But So the theological degree is it's pretty much all on the educational basis in terms of theology, biblical studies. So it's not necessarily tied to you going and becoming a pastor somewhere. It can be, but a lot of these schools, they're not offering the pastoral care class within that degree. Okay. And then like where the Master's of Divinity, on the other hand, you are going to have classes, like pastoral care, evangelism, sacraments, and how to actually, present the sacraments and give the sacraments, that kind of thing. And polity. So all that kind of stuff can be found within the your divinity degree, what they call, Master of Divinity. And so there's those kind of degrees. And then like the Doctor of Ministry, like what I did, mine was in leadership, and in so leadership and preaching. And so that was the emphasis of mine for there. So a bunch of leadership classes, bunch of biblical studies classes, or I'll say bunch, several leadership classes, several, diving into scripture, learning how to exegete scripture better, and then preaching. And so it's more of a practical degree in that sense.
Well, what are all the degrees you could get then? Like, can I get a Master's of Divinity in something other than what you got a Master's of Divinity in?
The MDiv is just a general master's program.
Okay.
The DMin, or the Doctorate of Ministry, is much more specific. Okay. So once you get to doctoral levels, so like in the DMin class, or you have different what they call cohorts. And so where they're focused on different areas. Okay.
And you would focus on one of those areas the whole time that you're in school? Okay.
Yeah, then there would be usually you have like one or two classes like spiritual formation or something like that, where there's an overlap where you have like all the doctoral students that began like in the fall of that year. Okay. We're all going to take this one class together, like spiritual formation. But after, but the other classes are going to be separate. Like we all.
And what are the other classes? Leadership
it can be leadership, preaching. What other degrees were there? Missions and missional church, organizational leadership, so like all that
debate,
no debate. And so and then the PhD is the same thing. You're going to focus in a specific area. It could be you're focused in on the original, on Greek. It could be Hebrew. It could be like the ancient Near East culture. It could your PhDs are going to be really specific,
something super specifically Bible related.
Yeah, and insanely, and like these, like I got a D-Min and I'm grateful for it, but like the PhD students put in a lot more work, if I'm being honest.
So you could do more school.
Oh, 100% I could go do more school. My wife would have my head if I did.
Oh, so, good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Although maybe in a few years,
no,
I'm going to go get a little deep. I want to go deeper into the Greek. That's my one thing.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I really do.
Nope.
And
it's a dead language.
It's a dead. Who uses it anymore?
Yeah.
Except for us who look at it literally every day as we prepare sermons, or every week.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. I'm in the Greek in the Hebrew, every week.
Well, yeah. Why?
To prepare sermons.
They wrote it in English. What do you need to do that for?
Because I want to see what the words are, what the specific word is being used.
But you can't read the other word.
Yeah, that's why. No, and that's why you take also a lot most masters, in divinity or theology. You take Greek, and you take Hebrew, and so you learn some educational basis of it, or foundational basis of it, of the grammatical structure and all that kind of stuff of Greek. So that the vocabulary, the terminology,
just learn Greek.
Yeah.
So that you can read the Bible in Greek.
Yeah. I just want to become more efficient in reading the Bible in Greek. But not just so that I can say I read it in Greek, but to understand the way that the words are flowing together, that the way that the translators translate it, why did the NIV translate it this way? Why did the NASB translate it this way? Why did the CSB translate it this way? What words is there in the original language, and why did they choose that specific way of translating that word?
The Bible's confusing.
No, it's awesome. And so, but that's the same. But you can also get, I mentioned the theology and the divinity, because that's what was That's what was found at like the School of Theology I went to.
Uh-huh.
But I also know that some seminaries will offer like masters in organizational leadership, for example.
Okay.
And so it goes a little bit broader than what you might find in a theology school. So the seminary, like as my dean said at theology school, we are not a seminary.
Okay.
And the way that he would phrase that as we're not preparing you to become pastors or missionaries or things like that. We are preparing you to be theologians.
Okay.
And so it was very academic in that sense. Whereas in seminary, you might take or even like in Bible college. Like in Bible college, you can get a degree you can get an undergrad degree like in youth ministry. And
that's
yeah.
Okay.
Or in missions. And something you can get a master's in that too. But yeah, so it
Do you have to study abroad?
Be very specific. I would assume if you're going to do missions, that would be very helpful. And so I don't know how that works, but so your that's what I'm saying. Your seminaries, your theology schools are a little bit different from each other, and definitely different from like your Bible colleges, which are offering ministry type degrees at an undergrad level. But they're again, it could be everything from pastoral ministry to organizational leadership to youth ministry to missions, but then they're also going to have the degrees like accounting and English education and that kind of stuff.
Okay, our Bible like you mentioned that they get accredited by somebody, but how do you accredit Bible college?
Yeah,
like what? Like, and then once you go to an accredited Bible college, who cares?
Yeah, it is interesting because just because you get a degree doesn't mean like you get like a raise, right? So they're not they're not connected necessarily.
Hi, boss. I took a Bible course this weekend.
Right?
Why'd you even tell me?
Right. Good for you, I guess.
Right.
No, so
I went surfing.
All right. So I'm sorry. What was that? What's the question? Accredited. Yeah. So,
what is peer-to-peer accreditation? Because you said that earlier, and I knew this question was coming. So
you waited. Yeah. Yes. Good for you. Way to show patience. All right. So there's actually like the peer accreditation. Okay. So you've got a school like a Logos University, for example, in Jacksonville. They are a peer accredited Bible school. Okay, or university.
Okay.
So they meet certain requirements, okay, in terms of standards of being a peer accredited school, and that is set by government agencies. Okay. So you're peer accredited, but what the difference is, or I'll say government agencies. Yeah, I'll say state agencies. The difference is they don't receive like any grants or funds or those kind of things. Okay. And they're not trying to become at least Logos is not trying to become regionally accredited. Okay. So by peer accredited, it means that they have courses, and then their credits can be accepted at different universities or seminaries based upon if that seminary or that university wants to receive those credits. That's what it means.
Okay.
So like, let's say I go to Logos University.
Is it based on you, the individual, or based on the school?
Based on the school.
Okay.
And so like, let's say I go to Logos University, I get an associate's of applied theology. Okay. So I've taken, associate level courses.
Okay.
And I've got, so here I am with my 30 courses, and then I take those to, not 30 courses, by 30 hours, 60 hours, excuse me.
Okay.
Losing my mind. Let's say I got associate's degree, 60 hours.
Did you go to college?
I know. What? 60 hours. And so I got 60 hours credits, and then I can go to another like fully regionally accredited university. Mm-hmm. Okay. And by regionally university, I mean or regionally accredited university, that would be like University of Georgia. Okay. That would be, and it's not just that. It doesn't have to be like just the big public state schools. It could, often private schools are that way too, right? They become, regionally accredited, and so their accreditation, so it's a lot easier to transfer credits. In other words, from one regionally accredited to another regionally accredited school. However, with a peer accredited, you could go to a college, say, I went to Logos University, took these courses, here's my transcript, and they might say, great, we will take half of those credits, or we'll take a third of those credits, or whatever it may be. It's really up to them.
They teach the wrong Bible over there, so you can't bring your classes here.
Right, not do the King James only. Right. But so that's the way that. So it's just when it says peer accredited, it literally means that they often have universities that partner with them that do take their credits. But it's not like when I go to another regionally accredited university, they may not have even heard of Logos, may not be familiar with them, and so then they may go, no, we're not. We're just going to choose not to take. Whereas if I'm coming from one regionally accredited university to another, they're often going to take those courses.
Okay.
And not necessarily all of them per se, but it's seen as, okay, you're at this regionally accredited level, therefore your courses meet a certain criteria that we're looking for.
But that's like to call. Okay, so if my big old Jesus organization was hiring someone for a position and I had two people in front of me, would I care whether their Bible college degree was accredited or not accredited by whoever?
It all depends on the church. So there are, and so what I mean by that is denominations different denominations have different standards. And so, in other words, if you're going to serve as a pastor or a priest, elder, however you want to phrase it, in a Methodist, in a United Methodist church, or in a Presbyterian church, or in an Anglican church, you have to have a Master of Divinity degree,
okay,
minimum, and it has to be from a regionally accredited, divinity.
Okay.
I was calling them theological schools. Someone will call it divinity schools, like divinity school. So, you have to have that. Where others may not care. You may go to a non-denominational church, or a church that doesn't have a strict policy on where the degree is coming from. So they may not care. It all kind of depends. I will say, even for our local church and our bylaws, pastors have to have a degree, but we do not state whether that degree has to be accredited from a regional school or from a peer accredited. Okay. Because, for example, I mentioned Logos University earlier. I think highly of that school, highly of that university. I think they put out really good quality courses. We have several students going through it right now on their associate level, and I think they just do a great job.
Can graduating from Bible college help you get a degree in anything else? Like I just made a joke about.
Right. Yeah.
Get a job in anything else.
Get a job or get a degree?
Both.
Yeah. Yes, they can.
Okay.
Not necessarily though, right? You can graduate with a PhD. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed a job, and so whether you're wanting to teach at a university level or whether you're wanting to serve in a local church, it doesn't guarantee you a job. So I don't want to say it guarantees a job. However, I will say again, there are churches and ministry organizations that do require a degree to even get the interview, right?
Okay.
To even be considered for the job, you have to have a degree.
But if I wanted to be an accountant now, or something that you don't need to have a college degree in, but it's really helpful if you do.
If you're going to, be clear, if you're going to be a CPA, you have to have
fine, not accountant, but something else.
Okay.
I went to film school, so I don't need to be saying anything.
Right.
I was just as weird as you were in school for different reasons.
For very different reasons.
But anyway.
Hey, Cat.
Go away, Cat.
No animal was harmed in the filming of this podcast.
Anyway, if I wanted to be I don't know jobs.
Okay, so let's say you want to be an insurance agent.
Yes, I want to be an insurance agent. Okay. Are they going to look at my Bible degree and be like, nah?
I don't
You
think
know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't think the Bible degree is going to harm you or help you in that interview.
But it's definitely not going to help you.
It's probably not, unless the people you're interviewing for are Christians and they're intrigued by it. And they're like, oh, wow.
Okay.
Cool. We're a Christian. So, like, I'm obviously speaking beyond just insurance at this point. Like, you're interviewing at a job and they're a Christian company, and that may spark their interest. Like, oh, okay, you got a degree, but I don't think it's going to necessarily disqualify you. Okay. Now, what I will say is...
So dropped out of high school versus PhD in Jesus.
Right.
We're the same.
Well,
we're just as good of candidates.
It all depends on the organization, what the job is, because some jobs do require for you to have a degree to even be considered for certain things. And so regardless of what the degree is in, they want to know that you had the ability to go through 4 years or 5 years of school, get a degree, and that you had
of reading the same book in every class,
right? And that you were able to stick with it, buddy. And so persevere. So I think for some that is important.
Okay.
And again, in some degree, in some professions, obviously you have to have the degree to even do the job, right? Legally, you have to have a degree. And so I think that really depends on organization to organization. I mean, I have my own thoughts for churches of whether they should or shouldn't. But
okay, does the Bible have Bible college in it?
Does the Bible have Bible college in it?
Which I know is circular.
Not in the way that we would define Bible college. Like where you go and you get this degree, that's not the way it is in Scripture, or the way that we see it in Scripture in that time period. Okay. It's not the way that it is at all, actually. But is there training? Yes. So, in Acts chapter 22, Paul is asked about, kind of his background and that kind of thing.
Oh, no. And I think I get scared every time Paul talks in this podcast at this point.
Why?
Because he just says some stuff.
That's awesome.
He be saying things.
That's awesome. All right. So in Acts 22, verse 1, brothers and fathers, listen now to my defense before you. When they heard that he was addressing them in Aramaic, they became even quieter, and he continued, I am a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city, educated at the feet of Gamaliel, according to the strictness of our ancestral law. I was zealous for God, just as all of you are today. And so he actually introduces the fact that he has been trained by one of the most highly respected Jewish rabbis of the day. Okay. And so for Jews, this was their training, their Bible college, if you were, was they would be under the teaching, the schooling of a rabbi. Okay.
Was this a Christian Jew rabbi?
No. So this is an individual who is not a believer in Jesus as the Messiah. Okay. And so he's a Jewish rabbi and one of the most well-esteemed, well-respected Jewish rabbis of the day. And Paul is saying, listen, I learned under him. I was educated. And what that would have looked like would have been that they, because from a young age, Jews go to synagogue, or would go to synagogue to learn Torah, to learn Hebrew, to learn the Jewish traditions.
Even in the Bible times?
Mm-hmm. Even in the Bible times. And so that was a common thing. And so at this level, what Paul is saying was, I actually had him as my rabbi, where I actually went even deeper into Torah, deeper into the Hebraic language, deeper into being able to interpret Torah, and interpret all of the Old Testament scriptures. And so this was a big thing that Paul's talking about. So this is the way that schooling was for them. It was, you had an individual that was quote unquote like a rabbi, which rabbi means teacher, a teacher that was leading a school. Okay. And it wouldn't be in the way that we think of like a Bible seminary or college where you have multiple professors and you're pursuing this certain degree. It wouldn't be like that at all.
Okay.
You would have the rabbi. That one rabbi would be your teacher, and so that would.
And
be
it's
the
only
training.
for men. Apparently,
it's only for men. Correct.
Okay.
And so for Paul, that was what that's what he's saying, and so it's just looked very different. And so one of the things Jesus did as a rabbi was he went and asked, specifically 12 people to follow him and allow him to be their rabbi. Okay. Now it was different. That was very different for him to choose people. Often in this day and time, you would go and ask to be. You would actually go to the rabbi and say, "I want to follow you." Okay.
Oh.
But Jesus was actually going and pulling people in. But what they did was the equivalent of what Paul had. They were with Jesus, with their rabbi. And of course, he was a traveling itinerant rabbi, not just living in one city, teaching in one place.
Because Paul wasn't a disciple.
Not of Jesus.
So he went and followed a different rabbi guy afterwards later. After all the disciples got rabbied by Jesus.
Okay, well, this is probably happening simultaneously a little bit, okay? In other words, Jesus is there, okay? He's teaching, he's preaching, he has his disciples, right?
Okay.
Matthew, Mark, not Mark, excuse me, I'm just rattling off Gospels. Like Matthew and James and John and Peter and that group. And so...
And at the same time, Paul was...
Correct.
Okay.
Because
learning how to kill Christians.
Well, not learning how to kill Christians. Although when he talks about that he was zealous for God, the idea of him being a zealot is really what it's kind of talking about. It wasn't just about killing Christians. It was about killing individuals that they believed were blaspheming
the Jewish
God.
faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And that were claiming a false Messiah. Okay.
Oh, all right.
And so they thought they were doing it from a right place. Okay. And so his teacher was, again, really well known, really well respected. We see him mentioned in Acts chapter 5 and addressing the Sanhedrin. And again, this individual was a Pharisee, okay, and same as Paul,
okay, and
a teacher of the law, a rabbi. And it says even in Acts chapter 5 verse 34 that he was honored by all people, and here he is, and he addresses the Sanhedrin. And what's interesting is he even had a sense of, hey, let's just kind of see how this goes before, let's don't persecute the Christians maybe as wrongly as you think we should, or as harshly as you think we should. Let's don't kill them. Let's see where this goes. Let's don't stir up any more trouble than we have to. If this is God's really behind it, it'll be proven. If not, it'll just, flicker out. No big deal.
What a weird time.
Crazy weird time. And so, but for Paul, again, he had really good, solid teaching. It's really good learning in the Old Testament scriptures. And that is the things that Jesus would have been teaching his disciples as well.
But new, but different.
But seeing it through a messianic lens. Seeing it, or through a new covenant lens would probably be the better way to phrase it, right? Okay. Yes, because they would have grown up knowing the basic, they would have had the basic understandings of the law. They were praying the prayers. They were reading and reciting the scriptures. Because remember, all of this is oral, right? Like they're not walking around with scrolls, okay?
Okay.
So they're teaching and having to remember and retain all of this. Not just the disciples, but anyone being taught by a rabbi at this day and time. I mean, it's oral teaching. It's all about, memorization and repetition. And, you say the same things, same scriptures, same passages, same prayers over and over and over and over again. So it just gets in you. And so Jesus would have been doing the same thing with his disciples. That prayer where we see Jesus teaching them how to pray, he probably told them that over and over and over and over again, until they got it. And you probably wonder, well, why, how do we know that these teachings are right? Well, the Sermon on the Mount or the other teachings, those disciples probably heard Jesus teach that over and over and over and over again. So, and they would have been told to memorize it themselves.
Okay.
And so it was just embedded in them. So when Matthew and John are writing it down, or Mark and Luke are writing it down from hearing it from Peter and from the others. Like, they're getting this firsthand accounts, and they've got it in them, and that's why they're able to. That's why the teachings look so similar.
And then you learned it all at Bible school.
And then I go to Bible school and learn it. So yeah, the teaching and the training was definitely different in that day and time. And it was more like an apprenticeship, of Jesus. We're going to follow him around. We're going to learn these things, do the things he does. So.
All right. Well, that's a question later.
Okay.
So let's do that right now then.
Okay.
If you're done with that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So because that's the way that they used to do it. Should Bible college exist, or should you go find some pastor or theologian that already exists and go apprentice with them and not do all this Bible college stuff?
Yeah. It's interesting because when I was in college and trying to kind of decipher and discern this, like what did I want to do next? So when I was at University of Georgia, I actually sat down with a missionary and he told me, because I was interested at that point in time going to do missions. And he was like, Joseph, don't go to school to become a missionary. Go to the mission field and find a missionary and apprentice under him.
Okay.
Learn from him, in other words. And so I think that because even in my training as a pastor, which I was thankful that I went to this, I went to a divinity school that's got a good reputation. And yes, we, really learned the historical background of the Old Testament and the New Testament. But simultaneously, I was also working at a church. And that pastor was incredible. Okay. He would take me with him. So he taught me how to do hospital visits, how to visit the sick, how to sit and do. I mean,
you didn't know how to go to the hospital?
Well, I knew how to go to the hospital, but I didn't know how to walk into a room of someone who was really sick or just had surgery or is about to have a surgery or whatever. Like, I learned all that from this pastor.
Hey.
Yeah. And so my point was I was being apprenticed to be a pastor while going to theology school.
So was that better than school?
I think the combination of the two is what really needs to happen. Because in my experience, theology school just did not prepare me to be a pastor. It just didn't.
Okay.
It prepared me to teach and write sermons and understand the Bible, but it did not prepare me of how to shepherd people. It did not. It just didn't teach me those things at all. I mean, my pastor was awesome. I mean, he would ask for permission from individuals he was doing counseling with to ask if I could just sit in on the counseling, like wouldn't say nothing. I'd just sit there in a corner and just watch how he did counseling sessions, and there were so many things I learned from him. And so
that'd be weird.
Yeah. You mean like if you were the person receiving counseling or just to have that random person in the corner over there?
Yeah.
Taking notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably was a little weird.
Just drawing your picture.
Pretty much that's what I was. That's all I was doing.
With tears in your eyes,
sketching it out. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think that most pastors go into pastoring completely unprepared to actually pastor, and I think that's why the apprenticeship part is so important. And I probably should, if I'm being honest, apprentice longer. We talked about this before. Like I was 25 years old leading a church.
Yeah.
Like probably shouldn't have happened, you know? And like there needed to be some more seasoning on my end. And I think it would have greatly benefited me and helped me. And I'm not saying it was wrong what I did in starting the church in 2005 or anything like that. It was just, it was like you feel like you skipped a step a little bit of learning. And so anyway, I think everybody, I think the theological training and the biblical training is so good. So I do want people to have that.
Okay.
But then I also want them to walk with their pastor, because not every pastor is going to want to sit down and go, let's do an Old Testament survey. Let's do a New Testament survey. Let's do systematic theology together. They're not going to all want to do that. You know?
Keep saying pastor, but or theologian or
sure,
missionary or okay.
Yeah, and I think even with I heard the individual I talked to when I was in college, and he was like, no, just go to apprenticeship. Don't worry about getting theological training. I think it can be both, as I guess is what I'm getting to.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying it has to be from a high level, go get a master's degree, go get a doctorate, but like we have guys, that are coming along in our church and they're getting associate's degrees and maybe they'll get bachelor's degrees. But I think they're also doing stuff with me. Like I'm trying to apprentice them, right? I'm trying to allow them to follow me and let's learn some things together. Like let's teach some ministry aspects together. And so, I've taken them on outreaches, mission trips, whatever it may be, right? Let's learn together. And I think it's important, but I also think there's the training they're getting right now of just going so in depth into the culture and the history of the Bible. And now they're talking to me all the time, like constant conversations. Hey, this is what I'm learning. What do you think? This is what I'm studying. How, can you help me with this? I had an individual who's doing a hermeneutics class right now and was just kind of lost on a couple of the principles within hermeneutics, and just helping to try to explain, hey, this is what this means.
I don't know what that means. I didn't go to Bible college.
There you go. So, but
okay, keep going.
Yeah. So I do think that it should be. There's got to be the training, and there's got to be the apprenticeship part, I guess is what I'm getting to.
Well, can the colleges incorporate apprenticeship stuff into their curriculum? And
they should. And so like the theology school I went to,
or would that be weird?
No, the theology school I went to made you do what they called like practicums. I can't remember exactly what they called them, but like where we had to, like, so for example, my first year I was a chaplain in a prison. And so
you were?
Yeah. And so now I was not like the main chaplain, but we were learning from that main chaplain.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was at Metro State Prison in Atlanta for a year.
Wow.
Serving as a chaplain there and meeting with inmates. And
you've never told me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Like one of the people I was doing counseling with was from the KKK. And I mean, I was with individuals who had killed people. I mean, like seriously, like it was
cool.
I don't know if it was cool, but I was like thrown into the fire. And
you're screwed.
And so
good luck, buddy.
Yeah, it was so like we did that, and then like the next year we had to do one within the church, like in a local church setting.
Okay.
I was already working in a local church, so that was no big deal. I just did it at the church I was working at.
Cheater.
So I know. So they can and often will, incorporate those things together. I think it's better for me personally. It was better for me to like be in one church and learning from this one pastor. Like that helped. Okay. That was just so helpful. Like,
yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
If you go to counseling with your pastor and there's 10 PhD students in the room also.
Don't mind us.
Yeah, don't mind us. Sorry, my phone.
Yeah, so it was. What I learned from our pastor was, and there was a lot, and it was great. I mean, it was everything from, how to schedule. I mean, like it was like practical stuff too, like. How far out did I need to have things scheduled and planned, and how organized did I need to be, all that kind of stuff. Because I think most pastors, like, we're kind of unorganized individuals by default, and like we're just like, we love Jesus, we love people, we love His Word, let's go. And you just realize there's way more to it than that. So, So I think there should be both. The missionary one's interesting to me. Because, like, I don't know how you learned that unless you're there doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be, like, you can do a theological Bible training, but then you better go and apprentice for several years with a missionary,
Which is essentially just being a missionary.
Yeah, 100%. Right? Yeah, just go be a missionary, but with other missionaries that have been doing it longer than you, right? I mean, you've got to do that.
Okay.
But even for pastors.
Because I feel like I was thinking of that one.
I got you.
A lot. Or the pastor one.
Yeah.
Like just, come to the hospital with me and watch this sick person die, and you figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
But the missionary one is like, just go, I guess. Like, why go to school? I mean, maybe go to school to learn the Bible.
That's what I would say.
And then just go be a missionary afterwards.
Right. And so you don't necessarily go get your master's degree or,
or
anything like that. But just like, I would, go get some fundamental, because you do need to know the word. You do need to know, and a lot of it depends on what you're going to do in the missionary field.
Learn how to speak the language of the people that you're going.
Yes, that would be a big, and a lot of people learn that better in the living in that context.
Yeah,
like even for me, and I didn't do it long term by any means of imagination, but like I took a Portuguese class prior to going and staying in Brazil for a summer.
Okay.
And that was a huge benefit to me.
Yeah.
Because at least when I got down there, did I know Portuguese fluently? Not even close. But I had at least a working vocabulary and knew how to pronounce, the words to some degree, even though I pronounced it with a really, really thick South Georgia accent at that point in time. And people were still like,
"Me gusta."
Right. Pretty much. So, it was not good. Yeah. But even learning those kind of, I think, things are very helpful going to the mission field. So, yeah.
How much is Bible college?
Oh, how much does it cost?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to really depend on the school. I mean, completely depend on the school.
Well, duh.
And so, I don't man,
is Bible college at Harvard just as much money as going to a regular Harvard?
Oh, it's going to be expensive, man.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, it's going to be expensive. Okay. All right. I think you can, I'll put it this way. I think you could do and this is kind of different because we're talking about different level degrees. You could probably do a master's level, let's say like a peer accredited college. You could probably do like a master's level at a peer accredited college for, I don't know, the cost of maybe one semester of what it would be in a regionally accredited school. So if I'm going to get a master's in theology, that's probably literally going to be the cost. The whole degree in a peer accredited school is going to be as much as it is for one semester.
I don't know how much in
a
regionally accredited school would cost.
Yeah, so if I'm going to a divinity school in particular.
Okay.
So if I'm going to divinity school, at an Emory, a Duke, a Harvard, a Liberty, Liberty University, whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to, Southeastern. There's a lot of different schools.
Liberty does commercials, and I see them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Those schools are probably going to be $10,000 a semester, maybe. Yeah. Whereas
to learn the Bible.
Yeah. Whereas that would be the whole cost of a degree at a peer accredited school.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that's the difference. And so, it was pricey. When I was at Emory, individuals would leave our 3 years, they would leave, $40,000, $50,000, with student loans.
That's crazy.
Well, that's what I left with zero student loans.
To learn the Bible.
For going to school there. Yeah. Yeah. And I was blessed. My tuition was covered. So I'm really grateful for that. But there was, I couldn't.
From other people that wanted you to do college?
Yeah. Yeah, so I got a scholarship, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, so I was grateful for that, and so that actually was the case for my doctoral studies as well. I got a scholarship for it too. So I've been really blessed on that educational level. But yeah, I think that's a big thing to consider too for people, the cost of it. The cost. What are you getting for the cost? And again,
a Bible.
If you're going to go into the United Methodist Church or the Anglican Church or the Presbyterian Church or the Lutheran Church, you have to have a master's degree from a divinity school.
Okay,
you got to, or from a seminary. So that's going to be costly. But if you're working in a non-denom, or you're working in even Southern Baptist churches, not all of, from church to church, it will differ on their standards of what they require. You know? Some of them want the PhD. Some of them want the doctorate. Some of them want the master's. And others are no, we're good with just the experience,
So do a lot of the people that that got degrees just go to whatever denomination will give them a job and now they're Lutheran?
No. Most often it's, I want to go in, I want to be a Lutheran priest or pastor. Therefore, I'm going to go to a Lutheran seminary. Like that's most often the way. Like, or I want to be in a Baptist church, so I'm going to go to a Baptist seminary. I want to be a Methodist church. I'm going to go to a Methodist seminary.
Okay.
Or divinity school.
I think I asked you that question also.
Maybe. Yeah.
So next, okay.
Or, go ahead. You want to ask a question?
All right. Well, next question then. Do the different denominations have their own schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so for example, even if you were to go to for example, I went to a Methodist, divinity school, right? At Candler. And so if you want to go and be a pastor in the Methodist church, let's say you went to a Lutheran seminary. Okay.
Okay.
You would still have to go to a Methodist divinity school to take 3 classes. That's kind of like their mandatory thing. So you'd have to go there to take a theology of Wesley, a history of Methodism, and a polity class.
Did Lutheranism come out of Methodism?
No.
Well, what? Well,
so all I'm saying
what are we doing?
All I'm saying is, if you were Lutheran,
okay,
and you went to a Lutheran seminary, but now you're like, no, I want to be Methodist pastor now.
Then
okay. You have to take those classes.
I understand,
right?
Now.
But no, so every denomination has its things, that they want you, courses that they want you to complete that usually will only be found within their divinity or their seminary schools.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's why you have to take usually a few classes, So if I went to a Baptist seminary, I'd have to take a few classes to go be a Lutheran, priest or pastor. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way it works.
So do most people go to a school of the denomination that they are already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's most often the case. Now, there are individuals that I know that have gone to Asbury, for example, and they've gone there and they started out as a Methodist and they were like, you know what? I really love the Anglican church. I'm going to go become Anglican now. I want to become an Anglican priest.
Okay.
That happens too. And just because those at Asbury, for example, we have a lot of Anglicans there as well as Methodists.
Okay.
So you have to come crossover sometimes. So yeah, that kind of stuff, you usually go though, according to what church you'd like to go minister in. Now, again, for the non-denominational churches, that's a whole different beast.
Okay.
That usually do not require. Some do require degrees and that kind of stuff, but a lot of them don't.
Okay.
And so that's all, or they just don't, or maybe they want you to have a master's in theology, but they don't really care where you got it from.
Okay.
So. And
okay, so you never said Catholic that whole time.
Oh, okay. So if you want to become a Catholic priest, that's a big deal.
Okay.
And I mean, that's 7 years of school.
What?
Yeah. And so if you want to become a Catholic priest, you have to, I mean, it's a big deal.
How much is that?
I don't know how the Catholic Church does that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because so for example, if you're going to, if you're a Methodist going to a
Methodist, I'm giving up sex for the rest of my life, I don't owe you nothing.
Well, it's one way to look at it.
You got to pay me
right
to go to your school.
That's one way to look at it. And they may actually, I don't know. I really have no idea. I haven't looked at it. They actually may,
okay,
pay for their priest to go to school. And so, but yeah, there's obviously a huge application process, an interview process and then they have to accept you, to go to that school, or to start the journey of becoming a Catholic priest.
Okay.
And so that's absolutely a thing. Now, again,
do you know any Catholic priests?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I know someone who actually just started, they just got accepted, into, school to become a Catholic priest just 6 months ago.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, but a lot of
sucks to be them.
Yeah, I mean, either way you want to look at it. And, but I mean, and their training is rigorous. It's very rigorous.
Okay.
And so it's kind of to be honest with you, it's like taking what I did with the master's and doctorate and kind of putting it together. Okay. It's kind of what the Catholic school is.
So how long did you go to school for Jesus?
6 years.
Okay, and they go for 7.
Mm-hmm.
Do they learn any core classes, or is it just
No, so like
Just
they're
straight
it's just
into
into
Mary,
into doctrines of the church, into the history of the church, into the theology of the church, all of that stuff.
All right,
right. But you actually bring a good point. A lot of denominations will actually pay for students to go to their seminaries if they're going to become if you're a Lutheran, for example, right?
Okay.
The Lutheran Church may pay individuals to go get their Masters of Divinity at a Lutheran seminary and then come out and serve as a Lutheran pastor.
Oh, okay.
Not all denominations do that, but there are several that do, and some of them, will hand out a certain number of scholarships. So not necessarily to everybody, but to, a certain percentage or up to a certain number. So
okay, so if someone if the Catholic stuff is so different, does that stuff transfer over to all the other ones?
Oh, you mean like if you wanted to leave the Catholic Church
and be a pastor or whatever in some other?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Okay,
I have no idea how that would. That's interesting. I'm going to ask some people. I'm going to find out
because we got to do another episode. So
okay. Yeah, I'm going to ask and find out how.
Because you said that if a Lutheran wanted to now be a Methodist, whatever, they just had to take 3 classes at the other thing. But what if you're Catholic?
Yeah, becoming Protestant
wanted to do that.
I gotcha.
And would anyone even want you?
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Okay. Well, we're there's going to be more of this because I got 10 more questions to go.
Oh dear Lord. Okay.
Yeah. So all about college and Bible.
All right.
Well, this has been the When I Heard This podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at When I Heard This Podcast, and X and locals at When I Heard This. Ring the notification bell. Tell everyone that you know about the show, and go to the website where there's t-shirts. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nate Robinsoff, and you can follow Joseph on Instagram at
Rev Joe T.
This has been the When I Heard This podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.